Yeah, welcome to Mondays Live. We missed you last week when I was down in Georgia, so not a lot has changed around the shop because I have been gone for a week. So if you got questions, get them ready. There's not a lot to talk about in the shop, like I said, because I was gone. So yeah, get those questions going.
Hello, Dennis.
Yep, what's up, Dennis?
I think Dennis is probably our biggest fan.
Yeah, well, Dennis, if you're our biggest fan, I greatly appreciate it because I see a lot of your comments on here and Facebook. So it's greatly appreciated. One thing I did do, until we get questions coming in, all of that tubing, tubing was 2 weeks ago.
Yeah, we
had the
we talked about it.
Yep, all the tubing's done, gone, shipped, and we did the video testing out the go and no-go fixture. But I got the Daytona out and went for a drive a couple weeks ago, and it was kind of a pain because the 4-post lift was here and all that stuff. So I ended up moving the lift.
And we talked about that.
Did we?
Yeah, we did.
Oh. I didn't know we talked about all that.
Yeah, you talked about moving this all around.
I thought that was like the week I left. The weekend I left.
Yeah.
We didn't do a live last week.
Well, not the week you left, but the week before that.
Oh, I thought that was the week I left.
No.
Yeah, so apparently I can't keep track of time either. So, yeah. Following along on that, the Indy Roadster was sitting here and put the streamliner up in the air.
I knew something was missing.
Yeah, and then tuck the Indy Roadster under here to where I can still work on it. Because I think once I get the white car done, I'm going to jump on the Indy Roadster and get it finished. So, might as well keep it to where I can work on it, get the streamliner out of the way since it's not next in line, give us a little bit more usable floor space.
What all do you have left on the Roadster?
I want to finish the front mount, and then I got to mount the mid plate, but I want to take this tube out and move, pretty much just redo this tube, give myself a few more inches of foot room. So I'm going to move this tube forward, but then I've got to redo all of this stuff.
Okay.
So I think transmission mount is not in there. I thought I made a transmission mount for it, so it's around here somewhere. But yeah, all I got to do is mount the mid plate, get the transmission mounted, new drive shaft, plummet, wire it. It's done.
Loose is fast.
Yeah.
You don't need that mount.
Nah, we need that mount. Especially with the drive shaft being right in between the seat.
Yeah.
We definitely need it. Got race car parts in.
Yeah.
So we've got our new intake.
You didn't talk about doing this. Well, you talked about doing it, but you didn't do it.
Yep. Yeah, so the brake master cylinder was in the way, so I had to notch that. And we had, this was a 90, so it would have put our intake right in the way. So I cut this tube off, and I think I'm going to shorten it up a little bit and angle it up this way. I haven't quite figured out how I want to do it yet, but get this to where, if I can get it like a 45 like that, make it easier to tie into the intercooler. So got that in. So this intake takes
12 injectors?
8 injectors in the intake and 4 in a block, so it's 12 injectors total. So lots and lots of fuel. And I got, let's see, the header that came with all that stuff, I don't think I like it. It pushes the turbo out really far.
Yeah,
So I found a guy in New Mexico that's going to make me a racing header. It's going to tuck that turbo over nice and tight.
Oh, that was the header that you got made.
No.
No.
This is an original GM Performance racing header.
Okay.
I just really don't like how it's out that far.
And that cutout, is that for like a blow valve or something?
Yeah, so the blow off would have came out here.
Okay.
So, yep, just gonna have that guy make one. That'll bring the turbo in 3-4 inches. That way it's much not hanging out in the air.
Yeah.
And then while I was in Georgia, we worked the final deal on the MGA. So hopefully, I'm planning on going out. What month is this? This is February. Next month is March. If I have time in March, I plan to fly out to California and get that all handled and start putting the car back together so we can race it at the season opener at El Mirage in May. So I might have to go out in March, maybe April, to get everything ready. So that was kind of why I moved the Indy Roadster. That way, even though I got a couple months, things are so busy right now, I wanted to take the time when I had a few minutes so then the MGA can live here.
getting a little cramped.
Yeah, I might have to get another 4-post lift to stack more cars. So, are there any questions yet, or am I just...
How was the event? Looks like it was a blast.
Yeah, the event was busy. It was a good time, but busy. Yeah, I mean, we worked on the car. We got the panels to fit. We went to a bunch of cool field trips. Like we went to DeKalb Tool and Die. They were, I don't know what parts they were making while we were there, but they stamp Bluebird school buses. So that was kind of cool.
Yeah.
Big giant presses. They do satellite dishes, and a lot of those things are pre-World War II. So that's pretty cool. The craziest thing about that stamping plant is they move the machines around a lot. So these big stamps. The concrete floor is 15 feet thick, and then underneath the big presses is another 20-foot foundation underneath each one of the big ones.
So it doesn't imprint?
Yeah, but even they said that if they run production during the day on the big ones, the neighbors complain that like up to a mile away that the ground moves. So
Wow.
they stamp in the middle of the night just so people don't think they're having an earthquake.
Yeah.
So that was pretty cool. We went to, I can't remember their name, but we went to a really cool collection. Had like Duesenbergs, Auburns, a bunch of super rare stuff. So we had lunch one day. That was pretty cool. But yeah, the event was really good. Got a lot done. Got to work with a lot of cool people. So that was fun.
How was the quality of the CNC form panels that you worked on?
The panels, I would say they were about 50% roughed in. They were a little, I wouldn't say undersized, but we were kind of talking about it, and we would have liked it if the overlap was like 4 inches around. Because by the time we trimmed it off and it kind of sprung open, each panel kind of had like a butt crack to it. So where it came together, it dove. So then we had to stretch all of that back up. So it was just a bunch of extra time. Overall, it was pretty decent, but like I said, they were about 50%, maybe 60% there. A lot of fine tuning to get it to work. So
I was watching some of the videos that they were posting, and seeing the machines work was really neat.
Yeah.
They use like a little thing and it just goes around.
yeah, it's a stylus, and it just pushes straight down, and then it has a platen underneath with like a pretty decent durometer plastic or rubber under it, and it just pushes it down.
Yeah, it's pretty neat.
Yeah. Some of the big reverse curves and stuff were off quite a bit, so we had to stretch all of that in, but it is what it is. It was a learning experience. So Tom, that owns and runs the figure machines that made the parts, he was there to kind of get an idea of how all that stuff would work, because I think this was the biggest individual project that he had done.
We got someone from Canada.
Yeah, welcome from Canada.
We have a question. In a previous video, you spoke about burnout, and what suggestions do you have for people who are getting trouble started again after a bit of a break?
You just have to push through it. Just take the first step and do it. The first step's going to be the hardest. That's really all you can do with anything. Just get out in the shop and do it. Don't think about how much it's going to suck. Just take the first step, pick the tools up, and it'll kind of follow. That's really all you can do with burnout.
A good suggestion is, in another video we're talking about, you got to enjoy the bad parts too.
Yeah.
And like, I just bought a car and it has a bunch of electrical issues, and that sucks because there's a bunch of stuff that doesn't work, but I'm having fun taking stuff apart and learning how to fix it.
Yeah.
That's all our questions for right now.
That's all the questions. Well, like I said, we don't have a lot to talk about, just stuff that I thought we had to talk about, we actually talked about 2 weeks ago.
Did you have anything about the class?
Yeah. Yeah, so I didn't even get back until yesterday night. So really just today was, they came in, unloaded the truck, put things away, and that's about all I got done today. But Dom is working on the official video, so starting tonight, hold on, my phone is ringing. Nah, nothing important. So starting tonight, which is, what, February 24th? Yeah. Today is the 24th, and it will run through March 15th, and there will be a secondary post to this announcement, but we're going to do the class giveaway, or the class giveaway contest. So what it entails for you guys, you're going to get it a little bit sooner than everybody else, just because you're here now. We're going to give away 4 first place prizes, which each one is one class spot for a future metal shaping class. this year, next year, whenever you guys want. It'll be yours if you win. So we're going to give away 4 of those for first place. Second place will be a merch pack, so you'll get a t-shirt and a hoodie. And third place will be a hat of your choice out of the store. So how you get entered into that is if you sign up to our monthly newsletter, which Dom will put a link to that in this description and in the description of the announcement video. Sign up to the newsletter. That is a free entry. You get 1. Or if you want to better your odds, for every $30 you spend on the web store, you get a 4 times multiplier. So spend $30, you get 4 additional entries. Why are you shaking your head?
I ate this huge burrito for lunch and farted myself to the moon. Dang, it was good. What good live? What good live?
Yeah.
Live, maybe. I don't know.
Yeah, well, thanks for contributing. But yeah, so if you want your chance at winning a free metal shaping spot, some merchandise, head on over, sign up on the newsletter, and if there's any stuff you've been wanting to buy on the website, this is the perfect chance because you get entered into winning some other free stuff that is really great. We've had people, last year I think we had a few people come through that had won classes in the past. It was really awesome that they got to come do the class and that they were happy to be here and that they won. So yeah, if that's something you're interested in, the announcement hopefully will be out either later today or first thing in the morning. So yeah.
I like the socks,
Yep.
the tan hat, and your Roadster hoodie.
Yeah.
That's probably my favorite.
Yeah. So I have we won't post it on the live stream, but I was submitted some pictures of socks the other day. Yeah, so I might put that on Instagram, so keep an eye out for a really good sock post. So yeah, socks are good for working and other things.
Yeah. Yep.
Yeah. So if you're interested, enter for free on the newsletter and 4 times multiplier if you buy for every $30 you spend on the website.
Yep.
So any questions other than Burrito Guy?
I'll check out your merch. Nice.
Yep. And again, that runs from today until midnight on the 15th of March. So whether we've made the official announcement video, if it's out tomorrow, it's still good and still counts for today. I just wanted to make sure we didn't do it, say, last week when I was out of town, because then it would be harder for me to keep track of everybody, and I don't want to wait a week to get your merch out. So
Yeah, and it's super simple to sign up. You already explained it, but you just go to our website and it should pop up.
Yep.
Where sign up, and you sign up, and then you get an entry. It's just easy like that, and you get to read our newsletter.
Yeah, and exciting stuff. The newsletter will come out this coming Saturday this month, so February 1st. It'll probably be around noontime, but we've got our first submission for Reader's Ride, so you're going to see one of our newsletter subscribers, their project at home, and I'm going to talk more about the class. I might put up some pictures that you guys haven't seen yet of doing the event down in Georgia with Chip Foose, Brian Fuller, Chris Rush, and a lot of great other guys. I'll give a little recap on that and upcoming events. It's nothing super big, super spammy. It just kind of keeps you up to date with what we're doing, what's going on, and new announcements. So check it out. It's free.
Might have been asked, but when do you shrink and when do you stretch?
That's kind of a complicated question because if you need to build, it all depends on what you're building. Shrinking and stretching are going to give you 2 different things to an extent. Like you can radial stretch for a low crown panel, like a roof insert. It's way easier to do that on something super low crown than try to shrink the edges and get the same thing. But if you're building big complex compound shapes, you're going to shrink the majority of that. A lot of it will come down to what your pattern tells you. So that's why it's so critical to make a pattern, because the pattern is going to tell you what you need to do to create that shape, whether it be with a machine or by hand. So the thing to keep in mind, anytime you're shaping panels, no matter what it is, it's only a series of shrinks and stretches. So hopefully that kind of answers it, but it's just tough because you have to shrink where you have to shrink and you have to stretch where you have to stretch. It's not a one or the other. It's kind of dedicated to what you need to do.
When you use oil when shaping panels, does that have any effect down the road when the car it's to paint work?
Nope, I've never had anybody complain about any kind of contamination because we're using ATF and mineral spirits. So all I do is tell either the owner or the paint shop that it's going to, what I use to treat while I was shaping the panel, and just to clean it really good. Because a lot of times after I shape the panel, I will go ahead and use rubbing alcohol to take all of that off a couple times and then clean it with glass cleaner. I don't leave stuff sitting oily, it collects dust. So I've cleaned it a bunch, and I just give a warning to the paint shop so they know that there was something on there and they can get it nice and clean.
Dom, what did you do when the boss was away besides school? I bought a car, I worked on the car, and I looked at Mike's social media, checking in, seeing what he was doing, but really not much. That's all I did. Could you discuss how you go about using a light bar to identify highs/lows in a panel when shaping it? What kind of light would you recommend?
Anything that's going to give you a light. It doesn't matter. I mean, you don't really necessarily want something round because then it's going to give you a round light on your piece. But all you're looking for is, whether it be light or reflection, you're just looking for a deviation in that. You'll see it like, it's very similar to what the paintless dent guys are doing. They put up a black and white card that, just horizontal stripes with a light on it, reflecting on the panel so you can see what's going on. And when you see that line dip, you have a low. Again, this one's hard to describe unless you're actually watching what's going on. If you were here and we had a low spot, I could show you what it looks like, but I've tried to film them in the past and it's really hard. You just kind of have to watch what the reflection's doing. That's why you want a nice, clean, reflective panel or some kind of oil that will become reflective when the light hits it so you can see the highs and the low spots.
We've talked about this before, but what do you use to clean the panels?
Rubbing alcohol and glass cleaner. So I usually scrub them down with rubbing alcohol, and then I do 3 different cleanings with glass cleaner to get any remaining stuff off.
Cold roll or pickle and oil sheet metal?
Most people are going to use cold finish. If you call your steel supplier and you say, hey, I want 18 gauge hot roll P&O, they're not going to have that. Usually hot roll P&O isn't until you get to 14 gauge and up, depending on your mill supplier. Ideally, I like to work in draw quality, aluminum killed. So it's made for stamping and high shape panels. It just shapes a little bit better, but it's getting harder to find and usually a little bit more expensive. So most of the time you're going to be running 18 or 20 gauge cold finish.
What's the difference?
Cold finish is a little springier. It's got a little bit more carbon in it. But the way they do that is when it comes out, they run it through like an aluminum, I don't know what else is in it, but there's aluminum and another chemical, and it goes through this bath and it kind of softens it a little bit. It just moves a lot better. It's less prone to tear and it's not as springy. So it works really good if you're doing a lot of high crown shape work. It just cooperates better.
Okay. Have you ever participated in the Grand National Roadster show or would like to?
Yeah, so when we did the red car, the red Roadster, I didn't know anything about car shows. Up until that point, I've never really entered a car into competition in a car show. So when we did the red Roadster, a bunch of people were telling me I should enter it into Grand National and go for the Amber, which I don't think this is an Amber contender. But I made the call, I think it was October, and I just called them and says, hey, I want to enter my car for Amber. And they asked what year, and I said the one coming up in a couple months, and they kind of giggled and said, no, we don't do that because it's a picking process. So they'd already picked who was going to be in, but they said, go ahead and send us some pictures just in case. So I sent them pictures, and they called me back, and they said, hey, it's pretty sweet. We'll put you on the backup list in case somebody doesn't show up. So kept the car under wraps for months, unfinished, or we'd only post unfinished pictures, didn't post anything finished, and took it out. And unfortunately, everybody showed up and their cars ran, so it wasn't in for Amber, but the big unveiling was at Grand National Roadster Show 2 years ago. So that was my first experience at Grand National, and I like it a lot. It's a really cool show. I've got plans to try to do an amber car in the future of my own. So yeah, but it's a really cool show, and I'm glad I did it, even though it wasn't in for amber. But I knew it wouldn't win anyway. You know, that it's not the kind of car that they would pick at amber. But it would have just been cool to be involved with it.
What do they want? They want like restored?
Nope, it just has to be a roadster. But usually amber is America's most beautiful roadster. So most people don't think race cars are the most beautiful.
Yeah.
You don't see a whole lot of race cars winning amber anymore. Way back in the day, it would have been more comparable, but I just thought it'd be neat to drive a race car through that prestigious, because you have to drive it into the judging area. And it's like, most people are 32 high boys and that kind of stuff, and I'm going to drive a land speed car through the judging, which would have been cool.
Yeah. It'd be cool to take the Handcrafted special.
Yeah. Yeah, it'll probably go to Grand National, but it won't be in for amber. Since I'm not repainting the body or anything.
Yeah.
It'd be a little crusty.
It looks pretty cool, though.
Yeah. Yeah, I'll probably have it out maybe in a year or two at Grand National.
Someone else has asked about Fuller's Place. Watch your updates.
Yeah.
How was it?
Yeah, Fuller's was cool. I mean, the shop was really cool. It was busy. There were 25 builders on the car all week, so it was a little crowded. You'd have to wait for a turn to work in your spot if you needed to get to the buck. But it was really cool. It was an awesome experience. I got to see Chip again, and we spent a lot of time working together on the door skins and the grill shell. And I mean, worked a lot with Chris and a lot of great other guys. I mean, I got a chance to pretty much work with everybody that was on the team. I think Brian brought me in just because I have a lot of power hammer and heavy shaping experience. Because I tended to jump around a lot and help people when they got stuck on an area or they had a question on how to get something to move the way they wanted. So it was really kind of cool because it was, I got to spend a lot of time teaching people that didn't have a ton of sheet metal experience.
How did you learn coach building? Who showed you, or did you teach yourself?
I taught myself. I've never taken a metal shaping class. I just screwed up a lot of metal and figured it out along the way. Asked a lot of questions online, did research online, and just watched what other people were doing and figured if they can do it, I can do it.
I asked a question a couple weeks ago about paint on my roof cracking. It was closed. If I closed a sunroof with a different gauge of metal, would it cause cracking? I thought expansions of different gauge metals may happen at different rates, causing cracking in the paint. It's only 0.8 and 1 millimeter difference in the gauge of metal.
I don't see that being an issue with the expansion rates changing because your paint is going to still be a little bit flexible, and the expansion rate of something that's only 0.08 or 8 thousandths difference, you're not really going to notice all that much. Because I mean, your panels can be that thick. If you've got something that's been stamped and the center, if it's really deep drawn, is going to be drastically thinner. That wouldn't be the issue. I still don't know why you're getting cracking issues.
Could be your painter.
I mean, it could be the paint, it could be the material, either, like the paint material you're using. I just really don't know. Because it's, as long as you've got something biting into the material, like into the steel, whether it be a mechanical bond of like 36 grit and then epoxy, whatever, you just need to have that grip. I'm just not really sure.
Mike, have you thought the body is flexing? Maybe on the paint?
No. I mean, I've never heard of that. I mean, you have to think, you're putting paint on plastic, and plastic expands a whole lot more than the metal does. And it doesn't flake off of the plastic just due to expansion. The only time you see the paint flaking off plastic is due to an adhesion problem. And that's kind of what I'm thinking you're having on your steel. Some kind of funky heat, some kind of adhesion problem. So I really don't know, because I don't know all the steps that you've done or haven't done, and what you've tried and what you've not tried. It'd be a very in-depth conversation, and I'm not really a paint guy, so it would probably be better to talk to your paint rep, because they would be able to tell.
Could I have overworked the metal?
No, I think you asked that a couple weeks ago. If you overworked the metal and it was too hard, I don't see that ever being a problem. you're still going to get that mechanical and chemical bond, even if the material has hardened. And most cars are stamped out of just 1018. It's never going to get hard enough like a tool steel to where it would never allow that adhesion. So I don't see that really being a problem. I think there's something else going on.
Any updates on the Mustang?
Nope. Just when was I on it? A couple weeks ago.
Yeah.
Yeah. Since I worked on it last, I haven't done anything. Just things have been so busy.
Yeah, I think the last thing you did was
The one wheel well.
Yeah, the wheel well.
Yep. Yeah. Like I said, I haven't done anything in the shop in the past little over a week. But this week I've got some aluminum bezels I have to make. I got to knock those out tomorrow, get them wrapped up and out the door. I've got some frame rails I need to bend, and then we are going to be making the mirrored image of this buck for the Mack truck fenders. I got to get on this so we can get the other set of fenders, the other fender wrapped up and out the door. So that's going to be on my list for later this week, is to duplicate this buck. So yeah, probably going to try to do a video on that. I still need to wrap up the buck on the 35-36 roof insert. We've just been so busy doing other stuff that I haven't had a chance to get to that one yet. Usually I don't get this busy till summertime, but the busyness came early. So I've been slammed doing all kinds of stuff.
Never mind. I was going to ask about making a buck video, but we'll come to that later. The guy says he's been painting cars for years and uses the correct methods for all the top quality paints. I've decided to make a whole new roof skin. I would ask probably the Facebook group of painters.
I wouldn't do that.
Well, yeah, they might. People on Facebook are weird sometimes.
Yeah, I mean, before you go through all that of making a new roof, I would honestly call your paint rep. Have them come out. They'll scan the material. Maybe you got a bad batch of paint. I would hate for you to make a roof skin and have the same problem. Have them come out, take a sample of your material. They should be able to scan the steel too, and see if there's an issue. I've never heard of that before, to where it's just constantly cracking. Usually it's an adhesion problem with either the primer, the sealer, or the paint, or a contaminant on the metal. I've never heard of somebody getting the roof or any kind of metal overworked to where paint won't stick.
What type of plywood and thickness do you use for your bucks? How do you go about attaching pieces together?
So this one is a little thin. It's 1/2 inch birch. It's cabinet grade. I would prefer to do 3/4. Just it's a little bit more robust, but it's getting so expensive. So I started using 1/2. I just drill everything, countersink it, and I screw everything together. Like here you can see these are offset. They're not right down the center. The center line is kind of on this edge and that edge. That way I can get a screw in there. So that's pretty much any way you can attach it that's not going to affect how your panels fit. And I do it, each one's a little bit different, but it's the same kind of concept.
Crazy work. Nice work on your channel. Your sub count is climbing like crazy. Cool to see.
Yeah, thank you. Yep, hopefully we keep growing and growing and growing, and we can get into crazier personal content. Like I'd like to focus or be able to focus on my own stuff a lot more, just because when I do my own stuff, I have a lot more creative control. You know, I don't have the end user or the client dictating what they like. Like the Streamliner, the red Roadster, the white car, I think those have a lot more interesting design aspects that some clients just don't want. So I get to do all the things I've ever wanted to do on personal stuff. So hopefully if the channel continues to grow, we can focus a lot more on that, because hopefully some of the income will come through the YouTube channel and support from people like you. So as you guys keep liking and commenting and subscribing, I'll be able to focus on the crazier, more intricate builds.
Yeah, I think we're getting like 1,000 subscribers every 2 weeks, maybe a month.
Nice.
It's a little slow for what I want, but
yeah, all we can
way
do.
better than, like, I think we're getting like 100.
Yeah.
So we're doing way better.
Yep. Yeah, and that's all we can keep doing is what we're doing and watch it keep climbing. ideally, I think it'd be super rad if we could hit 100,000 subscribers this year.
Mm-hmm.
That would just be amazing. So,
And it's possible.
yeah. So, if you're watching this and you're not a subscriber, make sure to subscribe, please. And share some of your favorite videos on Facebook or Instagram. Just anything that you guys can do that doesn't cost a dime, just to help to get the word out. Because a lot of people, they'll comment on a video and say, hey, how have I not found this before? You're doing good stuff. So I think the more that people can share what we're doing, the more exposure we'll get. It'll help the algorithm, and it will put us in front of our demographic. So any of that support you guys can do is greatly appreciated.
Yeah, if we see your comment, we usually reply.
Yep.
Give an answer to your question. And we have these lives that you
Yep.
can come watch.
Mm-hmm.
It's a really good asset. Of your own stuff, what will be next, time permitting?
So I want to get the white roadster finished. That's kind of my main goal. I want to get the white roadster done, and then I want to get the Indy roadster put back on the street, and then I'll get back on the streamliner. There's some little stuff I want to do to the GT. I want to put 2 new fuel pumps on it, redo all the rubber lines with AN line, better fittings. I got to replace a couple seals on it. None of that stuff's really keeping me from driving it. It's just stuff that I want to do. So there'll be a time where I'll just take a weekend and put the fuel pumps and fuel lines on. But the big thing is the white roadster. I think this weekend, if I'm not too busy, because I do have, usually I don't work on customer stuff throughout the weekend. I try to keep that just my stuff. But being gone a week, I do have to play catch up on a few things and get it out. So time permitting, I want to replace a rocker arm assembly on the unibody. So it has a 292 Y block on it, and last summer, one of the valves kept coming out of adjustment, and I think there's a crack where the adjuster nut goes down through the rocker arm. So a buddy of mine, he gave me a new used rocker arm assembly. So I think I'm gonna send this down to Gene and have him sonic clean it for me, just get all the crud out of it, get it all cleaned up, and I'll probably throw this on this weekend, time permitting, just so I can start driving the unibody and it not sound like a broken sewing machine with and it'll run a little bit better. So now that the weather's getting better, I'm gonna let it rain one more time to get a lot of the salt off the road. Like this thing was at Bonneville in the salt brine when it rained a couple years ago, so the salt's not too big of a deal, but get this thing cleaned up and ready to drive in the spring, because I actually do love driving this thing.
It doesn't look bad out of there.
No, but I mean, you can see it like where the water and stuff came up through the headlights. Like none of this rust was here before Bonneville.
Oh yeah.
It definitely put a hurting on it. So yeah, like today the weather was really nice. If I had time to put the rocker arm assembly on previously, I'd be out driving it today.
Respect from Russia.
Yeah, thank you.
I think is that a new one?
Yeah, I think so. Yeah, and like I was
Yeah.
at the thing in Georgia at Brian Fuller's, Michael Furyk from Furyk Welding Products was there, and his girlfriend came, and she's from Kazakhstan, so that was kind of cool.
What are you doing with that 9-inch bell housing in the background?
Which one?
Up
here?
It's probably up there.
Like the
It's just,
bell housing or rear end assembly? Because it'd be a 9-inch rear axle. Like if it's a bell housing for the transmission. So I don't know which one they're talking about. Because that one is a Lenco. I think it's I don't know what engine that went to, but the back is for a Lenco. I was going to run that on Streamliner. We were going to make an adapter plate to put that bell housing on the diesel and then run a Lenco style transmission. The one over there is an early Ford transmission to like a 302 or a 289 block. Again, I'm not sure if that's what you were talking about. There is a rear end housing laying here, if that's what you caught. But it's not a 9-inch, it's actually a Mopar 8 3/4. So this is eventually going to go in the red car.
we just got a $30 donation from Rico's Rides.
Oh, thank you. Greatly
says-
appreciated.
He says, lunch on me, appreciate what you do. Excited for the content from your trip with Fuse, Fuller, etc.
Yeah. And on that, there was a real production company. It wasn't just a bunch of us running around with phones. I don't know what their plans are or what kind of format they're doing, but they filmed all day, every day, multiple cameras. We had a real sound guy, lots of wireless mics. Everybody did interviews. So I think they're going to do at least one long format video. Hopefully I'll be able to share that on here for you guys. If not, we'll make a post with a link to that. So there'll be a lot of good content coming out from that event. So thank you so much for the donation. It's greatly appreciated. But yeah, so this is a Mopar 8 3/4. It's going to go in the red car eventually. Right now we have a Franklin Champ quick change in it, and that just eats a lot of horsepower. So the Mopar 8 3/4 has drastically less parasitic drag. So eventually that'll go in and hopefully pick up some miles per hour. Probably not this season, but at least I've got the parts here.
Love the challenge, just stuff I was looking for.
Yeah, thanks for checking it out and thanks for being here.
Yeah, it was the axle.
Okay.
Do you have the pattern to make 1961 Corvette rear sub rails?
I don't think so. Shoot me an email. I have done some Corvette sub rails. I just have to see what year. I'd have to go into the computer and check my previous bin files.
You can get his email in the description of this live or any other video at the very bottom.
Yep, or if you don't want to check that out, it's just Cornfieldcustomsltd@gmail.com.
Any other things? I found your channel a year ago, and it's been truly inspiring. I've been doing welding and fabrication for 15 years. I really want to add metal shaping to my arsenal.
Yeah, thanks for being a long-time supporter. Yeah, another thing we have to do this week, which I'm not very excited, and I'm sure you're not going to be excited either, is I want to stack all this tubing on the steel shelf.
Okay.
So we're going to have come in. The shop's set up kind of weird. Like, I think I've got it set up the best I can with kind of where things lay. Like, if we had a garage door here, I could do a lot of different things. But this was the best place for the tube bender, the saw, and our steel rack to be kind of tucked out of the way. But I can't use the forklift to load the steel onto the rack. So we're going to take that middle, almost empty shelf out and stack all that tubing here just to get it up off the floor and over to where we need it. So I don't know if we'll do all of it. We might cut it and do a couple tubes a day just so we don't wear ourselves out. But yeah, so that's on our list. And I can show you that little aluminum bezel I was making.
Do you build your own engines?
Nope, I don't do any engine work. I don't like engine work. I've got a few friends that I send everything out to. I mean, I'll do the rocker arm assembly myself 'cause it's pretty easy and straightforward. And I'll do little stuff like that, but I don't do full engine builds. So I have to make this little housing out of aluminum. So I came in, started here, shrank that over, and then shrank that. And then I started with this ring that I rolled, linear stretched out, and then shrank it back over. So I'm working on getting everything tacked up now. I was actually working on it, and you came out and said, hey, 2 minutes till live. I didn't realize it was that late in the day. So I'm going to come in through the planisher and planish it as an assembly to bring these edges back out, get everything lined up, and then I can weld it, and then come back and start finishing it.
What is that for?
Can't tell you.
Okay.
I can show you the part, but I can't tell you what it's for.
Okay. How were the panels for the project over the last week?
We talked about it a little bit ago, but they were like 50 to 60%. They were a good start. I think in the future, if we get a little bit of revision, get some more overlap, get the scans a little bit better. Because like when I was working on the grill shell, so the top didn't fit right, left to right. It was a little different in the middle, so I spliced it down the center. They didn't fit great down that center piece, but then where it came down and up into the fender, it was about an inch, maybe an inch and a quarter away from the buck. So I had to go in and manipulate that by hand. It was a good start, but I think as things progress with getting their software dialed in, the 3D scans better, the overlap, and just kind of getting more experience with it, I think that they'll be better in the future. I think if we could get to like 75 to 80%, it would really speed up production.
Yeah, it's still new, so.
Yeah, and like a lot of people on Facebook were like, oh, this is going to be the end of metal shaping. It's not. You're still going to have skilled craftsmen to be able to put it together, metal finish it out. But the thing I have found that I'm not worried about at all is most of my clients, they don't want a machine built car. They don't want something that's CNC made. They want the handcrafted artistry of a hand coach built car. And I don't think that'll ever go away. It might speed up production runs or small production runs or prototyping, but there's always going to be a market for the guy that wants the handcrafted automobile. So not too worried about it taking our jobs.
Yeah, it's just so much nicer, like, knowing that, like, you made that taillight bucket.
Yeah.
And not a machine.
Yep.
It's so unique. How many hours do you think that bezel has all said and done?
Which bezel? This one that I just showed you?
I believe.
This one, at this point, I got about 3 hours in it. If it wasn't that bezel, let us know.
In the end, it won't be the end. There's still people making jeans by hand in Japan.
Yep. I'm not worried about it, and if it does, if it puts me out of business, I'll go work at Walmart. I'm not too scared.
Selling batteries. Something, I don't know. No, that's not a new question.
Oh, and one good thing, I got a picture from our machinist today. How grainy do pictures look on here?
No, as long as you.
We have been out of our mini CP style tool holder for a while. So the machinist sent me a picture. If you can get a shot of that. He is working, that's the first one that's finished, and I'm sure he's going to be running them in the next couple days. So those will be back on the website too, and those are really cool. I don't even have one here because I sold my personal one just to fulfill an order to a guy. But what it does is you use that little holder, and you can put your CP style planishing dies in it, and it makes a dolly holder out of it. So I've got one that's aluminum that's bigger, but the mini one is literally like this tall. So you can get into some really tight spots. So I've got the aluminum one, which we're going to get those made too. I think I've only got a few left of those in stock. But we're going to get these remade and styled up a little bit better. We're going to take the normal knurling off. And did we show the new knurl?
You showed me. I don't know if you showed them.
So the new machinist I'm using, he's got a really cool new knurling pattern. So instead of this knurl, which is just standard, he's doing like this diamond knurl. It's super cool.
It looks way better.
So we're going to start putting that on all of our other tools as well.
I don't like the feeling of this knurl either.
Yeah, it tends to chew your hand up a little bit. This is a little bit softer, and I like it a lot. So, but we'll be getting these made next, maybe. He's working on our wedge lock style T-dolly holders as well, but I'm excited to get the little mini CP tool holders back because a lot of you guys are asking when they'd be back in stock. So I think since he's running them now, I'm going to go ahead and put them on the web store so they're included in the class giveaway deal. So if you've been waiting on one, and I should have them ready to ship out this week.
There's no money in those machines making one-off custom parts, so you won't be able to work anytime soon.
So I won't be out of work anytime soon?
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm not too worried about it.
Excited for the mini tool holder. I bought one, but the others I am missing for my tool set.
Yep.
Maybe I'll have a shot at the metal shaping class again.
That must be Gabe. Is that Gabe Schaefer?
It's Rico.
Rico? Yeah. Oh, yeah. Because I was thinking you meant to win the class. Because last year Gabe Schaefer came that he won. But yeah, if you've already taken the intro level class and you win a class, we can roll that over towards an advanced class. So you don't have to take the 101 class again. We can put that towards one of our other great classes. But yeah, the minis, like I said, I'm going to throw them up on the web store tonight because he's making them now. He's got all of them. They're all cut to length. Ends are machined, bored, radiused. He's just doing the outside this week. So I'm going to throw them on the store. That way they're there. And like I said, I should have them hopefully by midweek and ready to ship out. So yeah, good luck if you do that and enter to win the class.
That's all the questions we got right now.
Yeah. So if you got questions, ask them because I don't know what time it is.
We have
15 minutes.
For 44 minutes.
Yep.
So.
Yep. We got 15 minutes left. So yeah, if you've got questions, get them coming in.
We're maybe thinking about doing a video on the RV.
Yeah.
which would be awesome. We had a video for it, but I have no idea where that went.
It disappeared. Because it was funny, I was actually down at the event in Georgia, and the people that own Wall Control, which is a really cool product I'm hoping to get my hands on, and I can show you guys that if that happens. It's pretty much these small wall panels that you put up, and it's like modernized pegboard, and they make their own pegs, which is really cool. And it's metal instead of wood, and it's super modular. But they were there, and they were talking about doing an ambulance conversion for their trade show demo, and having like the inside all wall controlled. So it was really cool, and we were talking about it like, oh, do you have any videos of it finished? And I'm like, eh. So since we lost the footage, I think it's going to be a good thing. What was that?
I don't know.
I don't know what that was. But yeah, if we can, if the weather cooperates, film an updated walk around of that. Let's see if we can figure out what that noise was.
Sounded like something fell.
Yeah, was it inside or outside?
I have no idea.
I don't know either.
There's a ghost.
Could have been. Because I haven't moved anything back here in a long time. Yeah. We'll look outside and see if something fell.
The mystery of Cornfield Customs. The beating and coining tool and corking tool are great tools for the shop. If anyone hasn't got any of them yet, they're great.
Yeah. Well, thanks for the feedback. And yeah, I don't see anything out here. I don't know. Who knows what it was?
It's a big bird.
Yeah.
I don't know.
Oh, it was really funny. I did a test of that piece this morning.
Yeah.
And it didn't work, so I brought it out to throw it in the scrap bin, and it was funny because it looked like a little UFO flying through the air. Yeah, who knows what that noise was? Interesting.
How do you schedule time with so many projects and customer cars?
So what I do is I set a monthly budget with the client, and I try to limit it to no more than 6 client cars at a time. That way, in case somebody needs to fall off for a month or so due to health reasons or whatever, I can work with them. But we set a monthly budget or a rotational budget because there's more than 6 weeks in a month. No, there's 4 weeks in a month, and if I have six customer cars, the math doesn't work out. So I do it in a rotation, so we can have 6 vehicles in rotation versus in a month. So whatever your budget is within reason, I like to be able to get at least 20 to 30 hours per rotation. So we'll just round up to say 40. If your budget is good for 40 hours worth of rotation, I do my best to meet 40 hours, and then I invoice you, and I go to the next car the following week, and your car does not get scheduled back into the rotation until the invoice is paid. That way I'm not hitting you with a huge 160 hour a month invoice. It spreads it out a little bit, it works within your budget, and it helps me not get burned out on that project. So I usually go in rotation. So like looking up here now, I'll spend a week on the Mustang, then I can jump over and spend a week on the convertible, and then I can jump over and spend a week on the Mack truck fenders, and then I can jump over and work on the Model A sedan, and then I can jump over and work a week on the LaSalle, and whatever else is in here, the Indy Roadster. So some of the cars are on hold just for whatever reason. And that's why I like to have multiples. If I had one car in here and they got sick or something and I couldn't work on the car, I'd kind of be in trouble because I'm putting all of my eggs in one basket. So I have 6 baskets, 6 sets of eggs, to where I can jump around and I'm not worried about running out of work and keeping the doors open. So that's kind of how I do it and why I do it. I see a lot of guys that work on one customer car at a time, and all it takes is a wrench in the system, and you could just be sitting here twiddling your thumbs if you can't get work in the door real quick. So yeah, I bounce around a lot, and I'm usually pretty overwhelmed, but it's just how it is. Like currently, I think I've got a 4-year wait list on bigger projects to get in. So I do the best I can, try to keep up on things. But yeah, hopefully that answers that question.
The mic is picking up the electric motor running in the background. Uh,
It's the furnace.
yeah, it's the furnace.
Yep.
Mill lathe kind of sound.
Yeah. No, it's just the squirrel fan on the furnace.
Aspiring metal shape here. I have hammers / dollies. What should I buy next?
Usually the natural progression, you got hammers and dollies. If you got just basic hand tool stuff, you can get like hand shrinkers or kick shrinkers or a bead roller. That's what I found most people move on to next, is one of those two. So if you do the kick shrinker stretcher next, then after that I would get a bead roller. I don't use a bead roller a whole lot anymore, but for entry-level stuff and home builders, a bead roller is really good to have in your arsenal.
I see you using this
Yep.
hand stretcher, right?
Yeah, so this is a hand shrinker and stretcher. So like if you need to go over, say, to the car, we can come in here and we can take the shrinker and stretcher to the car instead of the car to the shrinker and stretcher. So I was using it a lot today. I'll just pull this die out here and show you. On that little aluminum bezel, this is how big the die is. And if we come over, because the problem was with it being so small, I shrank as much as I could in the power hammer with thumbnail dies, but I could only get so far in, and then I have to switch to a mechanical style shrinker. If I want to use the Urco, the dies are a lot bigger, so I'm going to get big flat spots. So I can't use the Urco on that little tight radius. And then the same thing here, if I come to our Bailey kick shrinker, the dies are too wide to get in that little radius. So I clamped that to the table, and then I could go in and shrink. I was still getting a little bit of a flat spot, but not nearly as bad as with these other machines. The other option would be go in with a tucking fork and tuck. That's just a little bit slower. So I opted just to fine tune with the portable handheld shrinker stretcher clamped to the layout table.
You also have a video on how you keep up with so many cars.
Yep.
On YouTube. If you guys want to watch that too.
Yep. Yeah, it's a little bit more in depth, and I think it's supposed to look like a sit down.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Let's see. That schedule was a good plan. Working on a big addition to avoid those types of bottlenecks.
Yep. And that's the problem too, is like the more space you get, the more cars you're going to have sitting around. That's unfortunately just kind of how it works. I've been downsizing a little bit since I let all the employees go. What was that? 2018 is when I went from having a handful of employees in the shop just back to me. So I had a bunch of cars in here, and I'm still working on a few of those to get them out. But I mean, at one point we had 30 cars in this building, and I kind of had to work through that when I let everybody go. Because I can't just call everybody like, hey, I fired everybody, come get your car. So I've been working through some of those last cars that were here, but I can only do what I can do. So yeah, but I'd like to get down to 2, maybe 3 bigger client cars, because not that I'm that old, I'll be 39 this year, but I'm going to start, I think, transitioning into lighter workload as I get older. That way I don't keep waiting and waiting and waiting, and I'm 55 years old, wore out, tired, and I still have 20 customer cars in here I need to finish. So I'm slowly going to transition into just 1 or 2 client cars, just to make life easier as I get older.
We got like 7 minutes left, so get your questions in and all that.
Yep, get your questions in. See if that's a question. Oop.
Can you elaborate why you dropped all the workers, if not all good?
So when I had a bunch of employees, it turned into kind of a babysitting job. When I first bought this building, I'm like most of you guys, I want to get big, I want to be famous, I want to do all of this stuff. And we had the work, we had the tools, we had the exposure, but I was just babysitting. I think I had 4 employees full time, and I didn't get to do the work. I was just supervising, and I was traveling a lot, and things, while the boss is away, the mice will play. It was really hard to control throughput, quality, stuff getting hidden from me when I wasn't looking. And it just isn't where I wanted to be. You know, the stress level went up. The profits didn't follow that stress level or the amount of volume we were doing. So I reassessed kind of what I wanted. I didn't want to be rich. I didn't want to be famous. I wanted to focus on quality, not quantity. And I just got sick of babysitting all the time. So just said, hey, this isn't working out. Done. And I went back to focusing on the quality, which really helped out my mental well-being. And quality went up, profits went up, throughput went up, all of that. And since I'm the only one here, obviously I get to work a lot more hands-on. And yeah, it went back to kind of what I wanted in the beginning. I wanted to build cars. I wanted to do the best work I could. And with a bunch of employees, you don't really get to do that as much. It turns into a managerial position where you're just making sure that you're putting out fires and then going to the next fire. So I don't really want to get back to that point again. You know, I don't want 10 guys working in here. You know, it's just keep it small to where I can focus on what I want to focus on.
Do you get burnout to a point where you don't feel like doing fabrication things for yourself?
Not really for myself. There's days I wake up and I just don't want to do this anymore in general, but I show up to work and I know this is what I'm meant to do in life, and I just push through it. And like I told you at the beginning of this video, I don't know if it's the same guy or not, but with burnout, the first step is just to do it. You know, if you sit at home and like, I don't want to go to work, I don't want to go to work, I don't want to go to work. Once you get to work, it's not quite so bad. So I just suck it up, come to work, and you know, I work Monday through Friday so I can enjoy my passions of my stuff on the weekends. I just push through it. Even on personal stuff, there are times where I don't want to do it, but I want the end goal, so I have to do the work to get there.
Became fun again, can't relate.
Yep.
I started a restoration business at 48 years old. 5 years later, yeah, I feel a little burned out and feel like I've lost my hobby through work. I feel like that's kind of a common thing.
Yeah, it is. Because, you know, everybody's like, oh, if you enjoy what you do, you'll never work a day in your life. That's BS. Like, this is a job. Like, I love what I do, but it's still work. It's not goofing off all day. I like goofing off on my own stuff, but it's still work. You know, like when I built the red car, that's 3,500 hours of my labor I had to do in a year in nights and weekends. So I was just trading valuable time that I can't get back for time working on my stuff. That was one thing that really helped out, is when I stopped looking at exchanging, like just doing it for a living. I'm exchanging time, like, and how much is my time worth? It's not just money and cars. I am giving you so many hours of my life that aren't infinite, and if you're not bringing me joy or paying me what I feel is my time is worth, I'm going to go do other things, because I can't get more time. You know, I've only got what I've got. So yeah, once you realize you're just exchanging time for money, I think it kind of changes your outlook on it.
Yeah, one of my financial teachers, you know, told me, you can't get back your time, so you got to do what you,
Yep.
You know what I'm trying to say.
Oh yeah. Yeah, I mean, you only get one life, live it every day like it's your last, because you never know. And I mean, that's why I got the GT and the Daytona, and I'm focusing on racing, because again, I'm not that old. I'll be 39 this year, but I don't want to wait till I'm 60 and my body can't do it, or if I even make it to 60. So I'm living life every day.
When are you getting your zip hoodies this year?
Zip hoodies, we might do a run of those in the fall. We've done zip hoodies in the past and they didn't sell all that well, so that's why I haven't done them. Maybe we'll do a zipper hoodie run in this coming fall.
I don't like zip hoodies.
Yeah.
It's so much easier just to slide on your jacket.
Yeah.
You don't have to mess with a zipper.
Yeah, it depends. But yeah, maybe we'll do a small run of zipper hoodies in the fall. With it being the end of winter, we probably won't do any more hoodies this season. I still got a box of belly tank pullovers from last year, and then our Coupe logo hoodies as well. So I'd like to sell out of those before I order more.
Hard one. When's the last one-off tool you've made? Cheers.
Trying to think one-off tool. Well, I mean, the tool for this, just a couple weeks ago. We made this steel hammer form. If I can get it out of there. but that sounds really good coming through the microphone. Yep, so I made this hammer form to clean up this radius on the taillight buckets. So I did all the linear stretch to get that to start folding, and then our bucket snaps in there, and we can hammer it over. So I still make a lot of one-off custom tools all the time, but this was just the most recent. That was just a few weeks ago, I think.
Yeah, that wasn't that long ago.
Yep.
All right, we're at an hour mark. Let's finish up these questions, and then that'll be it for tonight. I struggle with burnout, maybe because I have a 2-year-old and a 4-year-old running around the shop.
I could see that.
When manual shrinking, hammer/stump. After you get the tuck, how do you close it? Start with closing, or hammer the slopes and start with the tip?
I always have to close the end off first to keep it from releasing some of that shrink, unless you're closing it in the tuck bowl itself. If you keep that panel in the bowl and you close it, it's not as prone to let itself go. But a lot of times I'll go in and I'll close just the end to capture the shrink and then finish it.
That's all the questions we have for right now. Thank you guys for watching our lives. Thank you to our members.
Yeah, thanks for the donation this week.
Yeah, thank you for the donation.
Yep, and don't forget, I'm going to say it one more time just because it's the end of the video, but don't forget about our class video. No purchase necessary. You get 1 free entry if you sign up to our newsletter. That link I'm sure will be in the description and will be on the official launch video of the contest. You get 4 times multipliers for every $30 you spend on the web store. So buy $30 worth of merch, you get 4 entries plus another entry for free if you sign up on the newsletter. We're going to give away 4 classes for first place. So 4 first place winners get a free spot in an upcoming class. Second place will get a merch pack of a t-shirt and a hoodie. And third place will be a hat of your choice from the web store. So that is from today, which is Monday the 24th, through March 15th at midnight. All of that, all the sales and signups through the newsletter. Now till then, get you entered to win, and good luck on everybody that enters to come to a free class. It's $800 value that you're getting if you win the class. So yeah, I think that's all I've got to say. Got anything else?
Please like, subscribe, and share. It really helps the channel out. Like Mike was saying at the beginning, trying to hit 100,000 subscribers this year, and 1 person subscribing helps.
Yep, and you never know. I mean, you could share one thing on your Facebook page that's your favorite video, and it could help it go viral. All it takes is that one thing. If you like what we do, you want to support us, you don't want to do it financially, do something, like, comment, share. Any of that stuff doesn't cost you any money, and it's greatly appreciated here because it helps grow this channel. It helps give Dominic feedback into what you guys want to see. So yeah, that's all I got. Newsletter comes out this Saturday, which is going to be March 1st. Got a lot of great stuff in there. New products are going to be coming out. I'm going to get those CP Mini tool holders on the website later tonight. And yeah, so thanks for checking out this live event. Stay tuned for next week, live at 5. And any last minute sneak in questions? Are we good?
Nope, nothing.
Cool.
Just a bunch of thanks and brilliant.
Yep.
And thank you for helping me out.
Yeah, so thanks for checking it out, and get your questions for next week, and we'll see you then. So we'll see you guys later.